हाँ, निधि स्टार्ट कीजिए।
Very good afternoon to everyone and Dr. Neha Hariyani ma'am also. Uh, I'm extremely privileged to introduce to all the participants to our resource person this afternoon, Dr. Neha Arun Hariyani. She is an associate professor in English at SB Garda Arts and PK Patel College of Commerce, Navsari. She is a distinguished academician with over 25 years of experience. She holds a PhD from Pacific University, Udaipur, Rajasthan, and specializes in English language, literature, and soft skills. Beyond academia, Dr. Haryani is a certified motivational speaker and image consultant accredited by prestigious institutes in the US. Her expertise extends to various facets of personal and professional development, including etiquettes, communication skills, personal style, and stress management. With extensive international exposure across the US, UK, Schengen countries, Singapore, Malaysia, Africa, and the UAE, Dr. Haryani has garnered rich experience in diverse culture settings. He has been recognized for her contributions, including participation in a flagship international faculty development program in the UK, where she was felicitated by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chief Minister of Gujarat Vijay Rupani upon her return to India. As a teacher educator, Dr. Haryani contributes to national level orientation programs and develops e-contents for platforms like Swayam. She is also actively involved in corporate workshops on business etiquettes, communication, and networking. Dr. Haryani's scholarly contributions include presentations at conferences, research publications, and advisory roles in educational initiatives such as the implementation of the NEP Policy 2020. We welcome you, ma'am, and all ears to you. Thank you
Thank you,
for
Dr.
joining us
Nidhi,
today.
for this detailed introduction.
वेलकम मैम।
Welcome.
So, namaskar and a very good afternoon to you all. First of all, I'd like to thank Team MM-TTC, Rani Durgavati Vishwavidyalaya, Jabalpur, and the Dynamic Assistant Director, Sanjeev Kumar Pandey for inviting me and making me the part of this online short-term course on NEP 2020, Orientation and Sensitization. Friends, I know and am aware that you all are the strong pillars of your respective institutions. And so today's topic is not only restricted to higher education and society, but today we together through this session will try to contribute to our respective institutions and society by understanding and focusing on some important aspects of higher education, which can help us transform from good teachers to effective teachers, which is the urge of the time. Higher education, it has a symbiotic relationship with the society at large. The society and economic considerations have been impacting the way the education system has evolved. While the education system itself provides knowledge and manpower to the society. Education is a critical driver of the 2030 agenda of higher education institutions, including universities and colleges. And they all are preparing future professionals, conducting meaningful research, and engaging with the community and stakeholders to tackle the local, national, regional, and global challenges. These higher education institutions are the forefront of the solutions that are required to advance the sustainable development goals, which underscores the fundamental role of education in creating healthy, and inclusive societies as envisioned in the 2030 agenda. So it is impossible to separate education from its social context. We, as human beings, who are knowledge from the day we were born until the day we die, we are being constantly developed and transformed along with the social transformations that happen around us. The transformation on the individual is in constant interaction with social transformations, where no cause and effect exist. Formal schooling has become nowadays an apathetic task where no real engagement with learning happens. While its major components, such as educators, us, families, and students, are largely disconnected with each other, we are the witness of it. We, as educators, we all know that mostly we execute the teaching tasks that a curriculum dictates each time. We are always in rush of completing the syllabus. On the other side, families' main concern is to attach a market value to their children educational attainment, labeling them with a credential that the labor market allegedly desires. While students, they pay attention to anything else apart from the knowledge they get. And therefore, they care too little for its quality and its practical use. As this is an open-ended discussion, so let us make it two ways. Let me break the ice first with a simple but relevant question. I know it's a holiday afternoon, but you all are here. So obviously, you all are dedicated, committed educators, teachers. So, what do you think is the purpose of higher education? And what is the relationship between education and society? Please share your inputs. As we are dealing with higher education and society, as we all are teachers, so obviously we have certain purpose in mind. That what do you think is the purpose of higher education? Higher education, we're talking about HE.
Ma'am, surely it is beyond the acquisition of knowledge and skills. It is also about personal development, professionally, how well prepared we are, and how we interact in the society, and how we develop and contribute towards the development of society.
Well
And
said.
lastly, the research and innovation part.
Obviously. So everything together, it is a contribution to the society and to our personal and professional development. Any other view? The practical one. I always go with the simple practical, exactly what we think, not the theoretical aspect.
The other
As a
purpose,
parent, you
ma'am,
think.
yes, the other purpose could be critical thinking, developing critical thinking among students, make them do problem solving, uh, create innovation, make them understand different skills. On this thing can be the purpose of higher education, so that they can be available for the job market.
Exactly. So yes, this is one of an important purpose that yes, they are hired. As a parent, I don't know how many of you have children who are grown up and who are in the higher education, but maybe the children around your students, their parents, you are connected to them, children of your brother, sister, whoever in the family. So, what do they think as a parent when they send their children to higher education?
And most of them are targeting towards earning a livelihood, that they
Exactly.
should get a livelihood out of learning.
So, yes, this is one of the purpose.
Then
That
we expect them to be learned professionals. we are looking forward to prepare our students in a way that they will be absolutely fitted in their profession and the industry, and wherever they go they should not have any problem in making further training them. They should
Yes,
be
definitely.
prepared from higher education only. We're expecting that as a parent and as educationist.
Well said. True.
For
Can I
sustainable
put in a word?
society.
Can I also put in a word?
Oh, sure. It's open for all.
I think parents also look forward to having emotionally well-grounded, secure, stable, uh, you know, growth through any institution, higher education they go to. Because in this very fiercely competitive world, students need to be very well grounded in their goals and not be destabilized in the ways of achieving them, because there's so much of cutthroat competition. So how to, the emotional well-being, the stability to face the world of competition, I think is also one of the concerns of many students who look beyond just livelihood and professionalism.
Yes, Mitaji. Look beyond yourself. Maybe that is the one of the purpose.
I think the purpose of the higher education is for the sustainable development of the society.
Yes, ma'am. You're right, Chanchalji.
Ma'am,
Yes.
from my side, may I say something, ma'am?
Sure.
Ma'am, from my side, I think it is the prospectus of the practical life which they want to live. How to, create the sustained life, how to get the better opportunities, it, especially in career, ma'am.
Yes.
People these days, they don't want the relationships and everything, but yes, they want to look forward for their future and career.
They want a better life for them, that their family.
Yes, ma'am, actually.
Yes. This is also a practical aspect.
I want to add something else also.
Sure, ma'am.
Uh, it is also exploration about self. That is how we very well know ourselves and what we want from the life. So higher education is going to broaden our perspective to see things and also to develop a sense of identity in this world.
Exactly. So this is also very useful. So from this discussion, I guess there are two major purposes what I can figure out. One is to get more return as a parent from your investment that you have done in your child or your children, to have a better standard of living or whatever. And in other ways, Nidhi said, few of you also said that to become a better person. So the mainstream view for the purpose of education is, if we look at the parents, if we ask the parents, that most of them, they believe, even if they are not educated, they have not seen colleges, but still they know that why I have to send my child, so that he will earn more, he will have a better life, even our life will be better because of his higher earning. So this is one of the important aspect, important purpose. So the mainstream view for the purpose of education is that it is an investment. And the main reason why someone consumes time and money to undertake higher level of education. Time is invested, money is invested of the parents. So this is the high returns expected from the corresponding wage premium, which when enters in the labor market. So this is the major purpose. Nevertheless, things in practice are more complicated and the sequence of events is unlikely to be sustained, especially in recession periods like the one we currently are living. On the contrary, one notion of education, of course, it's related, as we have also discussed about that. You have shared your inputs about that. So, but it is related to the American concept of liberal arts tradition. And it's an intrinsic notion. which interprets that the purpose of education is to equip people to make their own free, autonomous choices about the life they will lead. I repeat, the purpose of education is to equip people to make their own free, autonomous choices about the life they will lead. So they want to emancipate themselves. They should be free to decide for them. It is their choice what to do after taking this kind of education. And we have seen so many success stories. We look into the news, we look to people, we see in the social media that yes, there are people who have come out from IITs, IMMs, and then they have chosen their own path, their own startups, and how they have built them. So yes, this is what one of the purpose of education is. Totally emancipation choices. So there might be an economic basis underpinning this individual choice. Obviously, every individual who he or she who makes the choice, they have their own, what do you call it, calculation in mind. But the intrinsic notion permits more subjective motivations, which are not necessarily affected by economic circumstances. However, since education entails ontological as well as epistemological implications, primary focus should be given to learning in such a way that educative and social functions could be amalgamated, rather than solely focusing on the delivery of existing knowledge, which becomes a reiterated process and an unchallenged absolute truth. So it should be a fusion of both the purposes. Nowadays, in a rapidly changing world, the major debate is placed under the forms of institutional transformation of higher education. I guess you have already dealt with that. I don't know. But yes, IDP, Institution Development Plan, which is very much there in NEP. So now we discuss in that particular context. Basically, what I feel is that there are three forms of higher education. Let me first share my screen. Is it visible?
ये दिख रहा है बिल्कुल
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Visible.
These are the three forms of higher education. Just the first one is the elite form, whose main aim is to prepare and shape the mindset of students originated from the most dominant class. The second is the mass form of higher education, which transmits the knowledge and skills acquired in higher education into the technical and economic roles students subsequently perform in the labor market. Lastly, the third is the universal form, whose main purpose is to adapt students and the general population to the rapid social and technological changes. So there is the instrumental one that treats higher education as an ordinary investment with particular financial yields in the labor market. and the more intrinsic one, which sees higher education as mainly detached from the logic of economic cost and benefits. So whatever the form or purpose of higher education, but according to me, the actual purpose is education should be integrated by both inculcation, that is instilling of knowledge or values in someone, and emancipation to serve individual intellectual development as well as social progression. The need for the higher education institutions to serve a public purpose, moving beyond narrow self-serving concerns, as well as to enforce social change to reflect the nature of a society that its members desire. Looking to this particular purpose, I guess you all are aware of the German concept of Bildung in education. Have you heard about that? Bildung? It's a German concept and still they are using that only. Anybody who's aware of this Bildung concept? Let me share. See, Bildung aims to provide the individual education with the appropriate context through which can reach levels of professional development as well as citizenship. The student can achieve both. He can be a good citizen as well as there will be a professional development. It is a term strongly associated with the liberation of mind from superstition and social stereotypes. Bildung is like you have to free yourself, you have to emancipate yourself from superstitions. Like if we talk about the Renaissance, the European Renaissance, we know that's a gradual enlightenment of mind from the dark Middle Ages. So here also, you have to free your mind, you have to liberate your mind beyond all these superstitions and social stereotypes. So Bildung's, in a way, is a self-realization process, as one of you has already shared, that yes, it's a kind of an awareness when we learn. So it's a self-realization process that the individual undertakes under a specific context, which aims to inculcate altruism, that is the selflessness, where individual actions are considered benevolent only if they are able to serve the general society. See, we have got many theories in regard to this, in whatever, from whatever branch you are, from whatever discipline you are. If you are from management, if you are from commerce, I guess you are aware of the Kaizen concept. How many of you are aware of that Kaizen concept? Bildung is a German concept. Kaizen is a Japanese concept. Anyone? The Kaizen is a continuous personal and professional development of an individual. And the corporate, they are very much, what do you say it, that they are liking people, or they want people from corporate to adapt to this Kaizen tech. Other is, if you are from economics, I guess, if not from economics, we all know that we have that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Abraham Maslow. We have learned him, we have read him. So anybody who can just share their inputs about Maslow's theory of hierarchy of needs, that need pyramid we have. Most of you, I guess, I'm seeing whose videos are on, that you all are very young faculties. So obviously more well read.
Excuse me, can you
Yes.
please repeat once more The German thing, what is it called? The
It's
German
called
concept of
Bildung, madam. It's called Bildung. Bildung.
Bildung. Yes.
Yes.
Because I'm not familiar with this
That is a
term.
German
Okay.
concept, and since years they have adopted this in the education.
Okay. And the Japanese one, what is it called?
Called Kaizen, Kaizen.
Oh, Kaizen. Okay, fine.
And another is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I guess you're aware of this.
Hierarchy of needs. Okay, got it.
So what is that? It's a pyramid. What Maslow tells is that it's a concept from economics, but you can apply on psychology, you can apply on self-realization. It's also a philosophical concept. What Maslow wants to communicate is that every individual, he or she, everyone's basic need is the priority. What we want is, the first thing is food, sleep. This is our basic requirement. Once it is attained, then what is needed? Then we need security. हमारे पास खाना है, हमारे पास अच्छा सोने के लिए है, तो फिर क्या चाहिए? तो कभी घर चाहिए, बड़ा घर चाहिए, छोटा घर चाहिए. We need that security, that yes, now I have a place where I have warmth as well as I am secure. Once you attain that, then you need love. You expect that yes, now there should be people as family, as friends, who take care of you, who love you. So love is another need. That is the third. Then comes, now you have a family, you have a cozy home, you have everything inside, all the luxuries. Now what is required?
Ma'am, before love, there should be the safety and security.
Yes, safety is the security, that is home. Second part. First is your basic requirement, your food, your sleep. Then comes your security, that is your home. Third is?
So I think, ma'am, sustainability.
Yes, third is the love. That yes, you need warmth from people. Then we go ahead. Then what is it?
It is respect, confidence.
Self-respect.
Yes, the sense of appreciation.
self-esteem.
Yes.
Self-esteem.
People appreciate me. People respect me. I am a respectable part of the society.
Madam, dignified life.
Exactly, dignified life. Why people contribute to the society?
Sustainability doesn't comes in that, ma'am?
Not exactly, but everything comes. Sustainability is a byproduct, madam, I guess, with everything. And we will be going to sustainable goals later. So I'll be discussing that later. SDGs we have. So then after that comes the final stage. And what is it? And that is self-realization. Who am I? What are my capacities? What are my abilities? And that is your human spirit. That you become spiritual religiously, but at the same time, you have that spirit to recognize your potential. So this recognition of potential, again, it's a self-awareness. You confront yourself. जात से रूबरू होने की बात. So that is the final stage. Then there are various stages, but these are the major 5 parts of the pyramid of Maslow. So this is how education and society are connected. Now, not all individuals and society agree on the purposes and roles of higher education in the modern world. All have their own inputs, their own view. So it's not easy that everyone comes on a same platform. However, in any case, it is a place where teaching and research can be accommodated in an organized fashion for the promotion of various types of knowledge, applied and non-applied. It is a place where money and moral values compete and collaborate simultaneously, where the development of labor market skills and competencies, they coexist with the identification and utilization of people's skills and talents, as well as the pursuit of employment, morality, and citizenship. But institutions should have a broader acknowledging the benefits that higher educational attainment brings to societies as a whole by the simultaneous promotion of productivity, innovation, and democratization, as well as the mitigation of social inequalities. The relationship between university, regional context, and local community has become rather more uncertain as institutions have come to develop their own academic identities, often locating themselves within wider national and even global academic and educational networks. Historically, much of the literature on higher education's relationship with society concentrates on its link with the history and the economy. After 1945, the role of higher education as a social instrument and agency became widely accepted. A recurring theme of the 1950s was equality of opportunity, and the succeeding decade of dramatic and extraordinary change, which incorporated a significant expansion of the higher education system. And it was predicated on the ambition of moving towards just and concerned society. The profile of universities as agents of social change was lower key in the 70s and 80s, with an emphasis on their infrastructural role in underpinning the economy, and the expansion of the 1990s was also justified in terms that emphasized the need for higher level skills in an emerging globalized knowledge economy. As the decade progressed, however, this was combined with the new labor's more explicit social agenda, with the promise of widening participation and the reduction of social exclusion through the opening up of higher education to wider sections of the society. The evolution of higher education has been influenced by various factors over time. But its key events include, these are the factors that are affecting them: establishment of education departments, development of the system of the granting aid, formation of universities, and westernization of educational content. In India, before and after independence, higher education underwent a significant change. Understanding this historical context helps us appreciate the current state of higher education. So let us have a historical analysis of higher education systems on the basis of the 4 parts. Nalanda and Takshashila, ancient centers of learning, we all know that they paved the way for modern universities. Banaras Hindu University and the University of Calcutta, established during the British rule, continue to shape education institutions, even at present. Even institutions like the University of Mumbai, University of Madras, and the University of Delhi have been key players fostering academic excellence. Today, these venerable establishments stand as beacons of knowledge influencing India's intellectual landscape. As you're going to deal with our ancient universities in other sessions, or maybe you have done in that holistic education part. Sarji, ho gaya holistic education. So you will be learning this, or the resource person will be sharing all about that. So I'm not focusing that at present. But I will only focus on the evolution of Western education in India. See, as we are aware that the Britishers came to India as what? They came to India first. For what they came to India?
For trade, ma'am, for trade.
Exactly.
Yes,
For
ma'am.
trade
and
for
commerce.
business. Yes,
Yes,
trade and commerce business through what? Under the name of?
East India Company, ma'am.
Exactly, ma'am. So it's East India Company. So the Britishers came to India as East India Company. So right from the beginning of their relationship with India, the British who had come as traders and had become rulers and administrators, had influenced the economic, political, and educational systems of the country. Their impact on the cultural and social life of India was great. Here it is essential to review the educational policies under the British rule to understand and visualize the future. Development of education system during the British period was determined by the needs of the colonial powers. Keeping their motives in mind, the British developed the education system accordingly. For our clarity, let us divide the Western education system in 4 phases. Of course, it's not divided that way, but just for clarity, I'm dividing it into the 4 phases. The first phase from 1758 to 1812, the second from 1830 to 1853, third from 1854 to 1900, and the fourth from 1901 to 1912. Now, if we move to the first phase, what happened in the first phase? See, after the East India Company was established, obviously, their aim was not promoting education. We all know they came for trade and commerce, but business and later colonization. So that was their intention, that was their purpose. But still, some higher education institutions were established during the first phase. In 1781, Calcutta Madrasa was established by Warren Hastings. And the reason was for the study of Muslim law. A Sanskrit college was established in 1791 in Banaras by Jonathan Duncan for the study of Hindu law and philosophy. In 1800, Lord Wellesley established Fort William College for the training of civil servants of the company in Indian languages and customs, but it closed in 1802 because the East India Company didn't support. So these are the highlights, the glimpses, what happened in the first phase. Now, if we move to the second phase, what happened during the second phase? The British Raj came with the Charter Act in 1830. And at that time, granting 1 lakh rupees for education in India in 1830, it was a huge amount. But instead of education, they spent the money on propagation. They allowed Christian missionaries to spread their religious ideas in India. So obviously that was their intention. But later, for the first time, they acknowledged the responsibility for promotion of education in India. Calcutta College was formed in 1807. Chartered Act is in 1813. And with the efforts of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, a general committee of public instruction was formed to look after the development of India. But the committee failed due to Orientalist Anglicist controversy over the nature of education. What was the controversy? That what should be the medium of education, native or English? So, to bring some solution to that controversy, then came the Macaulay's education policy in 1835, and which favored the English education to a traditional one. Along with that, in 1849, as you can see on the screen, Betham College was established by Jed Betham, and 1847, IIT Roorkee. This is the oldest engineering institute in India in 1847. Then comes the third phase, 1854 to 1900. I'm just giving you the glimpses because we can take all 3 hours for this. So the Chartered Act of the East India Company was to be reviewed in 1853 by the British Parliament. And the Parliament appointed a special parliamentary committee to suggest a sustainable education policy for India. The committee made a thorough evaluation of the educational policy followed by the company in India. On the basis of this evaluation, a dispatch, that is a policy document on education, was prepared for the functioning of education system in India. As Charles Wood was the president of the Board of Control for India, the dispatch was christened as Educational Policies in India under the British. The objective of the dispatch was not only to produce a higher degree of intellectual fitness, but to raise the moral character and to supply with servants. See, they wanted that babus. So this was the intention of the dispatch act. The function of education was to diffuse European knowledge, arts, philosophy, science, and literature. English and vernacular languages of India would be the media for the diffusion of European knowledge. An immediate outcome of this dispatch was the passing of the 3 University Acts of 1857, establishing universities at Calcutta, Madras, and Bombay. It was Bombay. So it led to the creation of an education department. See, this is the starting point. We had the education departments in each province of British India. Now, this dispatch was a large shift to English language use in India. It suggested that the primary school should impart education in vernacular languages, while the high schools in Anglo vernacular languages, and colleges and universities should use English as the medium of education. So we have to understand this. I'm just sharing it this. This dispatch focused again on female education, which was not there till then, and led to the westernization of Indian educational system. And the dispatch was known as the Magna Carta of education. It brought so many reforms, right? From the formation of the University Acts to the formation of establishment of the education departments. But before any further action could be taken, the government of India was transferred from the company to the crown. Now, the authority was not the East India Company. So, education under the East India Company technically ended with the Woods Dispatch of 1854, as the company ceased to be a political power in 1858. Again, it was in 1882, Hunter Commission was formed under the chairmanship of Sir W. W. Hunter, who was appointed by Lord Ripon. It resulted into the establishment of two major universities, Punjab University in 1882 and Allahabad University in 1887. There are major recommendations that are there in the dispatch. They are on your screen. You can read them. So the consequences of this event directed the center of interest in education to be shifted from London to Calcutta, and the parliamentary interest in Indian education being reduced to minimum. The government became the most effective authority to deal with important educational issues. And this period of about 5 decades, 50 years, between the dispatch of 1854 and the appointment of Indian Universities Commission in 1902 under Sir Thomas Raleigh on the instructions of the Viceroy of India. The Viceroy was Lord Curzon. And that particular 5 decades, they are described as the Victorian era in Indian education. After Magna Carta, this is the Victorian era in education. It was formed to make recommendations for reforms in university education in the principal educational events comprised the establishment of the education departments, development of the system of granting aid, establishment of universities, extension of collegiate and secondary education, westernization of the content of education. And in 1859, Staley, the Secretary of State for India, passed an order that the government of India should own responsibility of primary education. So the third phase is very important. So gradually, how our education is evolving. I guess you should all go to the MM-TTC website and check the themes that are given for each and every topic. There are sub-themes. For this, there are 5 sub-themes given. So the first is about this only, how the westernization of Indian education. So you can check it on your MM-TTC website, and you will see for each and every session that you are having that some prescribed themes are there, and I'm following that. So the first point, the first theme, the sub-theme is this, that this is how we had that westernization of higher education. Now comes the fourth phase, between 1901 to 1920. The Simla Conference was there in September 1901. And it was a starting point of an era of increased educational activity and earnest prosecution of educational reforms. Now, this was followed by the appointment of the Indian University Commissions, as I mentioned, in 1902, and on the basis of whose recommendations the Indian Universities Act was passed in 1904. The resolution also detailed the chief characteristics of the system of education in British India. The characteristics were getting government job was the aim of education. English was encouraged. The cost of vernacular languages. Technical education was neglected. And method of instruction encouraged memorization and not developing intellect. See, now we know that how this reciting things, memorization, from where we have gone. See, now we are towards the skill-based education. But we all know what we have learned in our primaries, in our KGs, kindergartens. When we started learning ABCD, A for, what is A for? Apple.
Apple.
Yes. B for bat, C for cat, D for dog. So at that time only, if the teacher will say that, yes, A for apple. But the teacher never taught the student that you give me the answer. A for what? A can be for aeroplane. If A can be for some other thing. If that was the scenario, they would have been different. जो रट्टा लगाते थे बस वही अच्छा है. We have memorized that, and that we have omitted in the exam. So we are coming, this is the Western influence that we have. Now it's very difficult to get rid of that, but still NEP 2020 is trying its level best for this. So in 1913, the next major change was the declaration of the educational policy, which was passed through a government resolution. Apart from these changes, non-officials like Gopal Krishna Gokhale moved a bill to make elementary education free and compulsory. All these changes had a great impact on the growth of education during 2 decades. We all know Gopal Krishna Gokhale, the moderate Congress leader. He introduced a bill to make elementary education free, compulsory for children aged between 6 and 10. The old distinctions between lower primary and upper primary, lower secondary and upper secondary, it disappeared in 1906. And the institutions were reclassified into elementary and secondary schools. Gokhale's efforts had far-reaching consequences in the subsequent period. His efforts were responsible for the creation of a separate education department and the strengthening of the movement in favor of mass education. Now it was changing. So we have seen till 1920. Now during the period between 1940 to 1946, I have not mentioned that that due to the absence of popular ministries, domination of the Indian scene by political problems, we know now we were fighting for the independence, and the preoccupation of the government with war efforts, Second World War, the pace of educational progress slowed down. After the end of the Second World War, the Central Advisory Board of Education, that is CABE, in India published a comprehensive report on the post-war educational development in India, that is in the country. Now, this was the first systematic and national level attempt to review the problems of education as a whole. And it is also known as the Sargent Plan after John Sargent, the then educational advisor to the government of India. The object of the plan was to create in India, in a period of not less than 40 years, the same standard of educational attainments as had already been admitted in England. Of course, they were not loving the country, our country, but there was some kind of purpose, hidden purpose, selfish purpose in that. That it is worth mentioning here that this plan was proposed by the British government in order to counter the attempts made by leaders of the freedom movement to evolve a national system of education, such as the Varda scheme. So this is why that now they were showing that yes, we are seriously interested in the education of the Indians. Now, what did that particular plan recommend? So this is the Sargent Plan. Abolition of intermediate courses, development of adult education and liquidation of adult illiteracy in 20 years, stress on teachers training, physical education, education for the physically and mentally handicapped. So this is how it worked. So in the final phase, if we revise, there was the University Commission, the Indian University Act in 1904, Sargent Plan in 1944, and of course, it was by the educational advisor. Now the Raj, the British Raj, with the help of philanthropists, were able to open, you will not believe, 21 universities and 496 colleges till 1947. 21 universities and 496 colleges. They were established before independence. Universities at first, at that time, what was the role of the university? They did no teaching or research. They only conducted examinations and gave out degrees. Now, which were the major universities and colleges established, major universities before independence? Here is a list. As I told you, there were 20. First is the Madras Medical College. It opened in 1835. And it admitted women so that they could treat the female population who traditionally shied away from medical treatments under qualified male professionals. Again, this is a scenario at present also at some places, that we need a female gynec or we need a female doctor for whatever reasons. But yes, so at that time, Madras Medical College was the first who initiated to admit women for the study of medicine. The concept of educated women among medical professionals, it gained popularity during the late 19th century. And by 1894, the Women's Christian Medical College an exclusive medical school for women was established in Ludhiana, Punjab. Another is Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College, founded in 1875, was the first modern institution of higher education for Muslims in India. By 1920, it became the Aligarh Muslim University. Previously, it was known as Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College. And Aligarh Muslim University was the leading intellectual center of Muslim political activity at that time. Of course, the original goals were to train Muslims for British service and prepare an elite that would attain universities in. Among the universities founded in the period, you have that list: University of Mumbai in 1857, Calcutta in 1857, Madras in 1857, Punjab 82, Allahabad 87, Mysore 1916, Patna 1917, till University of Rajputana in 1947. Now, apart from this, there were 4 technical universities that were formed before independence. These are the universities, they are on your screen. Now, technical universities before independence. See, in India, there were 4 colleges of civil engineering. The first was Thomason College, as I told, in 1847, now IIT Roorkee. First, it was known as Thomason College, and it was founded in 1847. The second was Bengal Engineering College, now Indian Institute of Engineering, Science and Technology, IIEST. Their role, now, what was their role? Though they were technical colleges or universities, their role was restricted to provide civil engineers for the Indian Public Works Department. Their goal was only to produce civil engineers. Both in Britain and in India, the administration and management of science, technical and engineering education was undertaken by officers from the Royal Engineers and the Indian Army equivalent. Now, this trend in civil-military relationships continued with the formation of the Royal Indian Engineering College in 1870, specifically to train civil engineers in India, engineers in England for duties with the Indian Public Works Department. They want that particular kind of engineers because there was a dearth of civil engineers at the time. The Indian Public Works Department, although technically a civilian institution, relied on military engineers until 1947 and after. So, growing awareness for the need of technical education in India, it gave rise to the establishment of institutions such as the Indian Institute of Science, established by the philanthropist Jamshedji Tata in 1909. And I'm so proud to say that I live in a city where Jamshedji Tata was born, Navsari. So by the 30s, India had 10 institutions offering engineering courses. However, with the advent of the Second World War in 1839, the War Technicians Training Scheme under Ernest Bevin was initiated, thereby laying the foundation of modern technical education in India. Later, planned development of scientific education under Ardeshir Dalal was initiated in 1944. So I have just tried to give you the glimpse of education, universities, how government institutions were developed, how departments were developed, grant and aid, and all kinds of concepts that were prior to independence. Now let us have a look in the post-independence. Of course, here also some important commissions and policies. They paved the way for further education, like the Kothari Commission, the National Education Policy in 1968. We know this is a third one. Then came the National Policy on Education. Again, it's a National Education Policy, but it was known as not NEP, it was known as NPE, National Policy on Education, in 1986. And now we all have gathered under that, that is the National Education Policy 2020. The mandate of these guidelines extends from enhancing academic standards and driving research excellence to promoting inclusivity and embracing technology. They underscore the importance of interdisciplinary collaboration, industry alliances, and community engagement, advocating for a holistic approach to growth that encourages innovation, inclusivity, knowledge accessibility, and a pursuit of excellence. So the guidelines were created by an esteemed committee made up of accomplished academic and industry leaders from diverse fields, including social sciences, biotechnology, and business, among others. They constitute a comprehensive roadmap that not only responds to current educational challenges, but also anticipate the future. The rapidly expanding field of higher education, both globally and within India, has prompted an increasing focus on the quality and standards of learning outcomes. As higher education becomes more costly for both the public and private sectors, we all know its role in building a just and equitable society takes on an even greater resonance. It becomes a crucial vehicle for equipping the next generation of Indians with the ability to face upcoming challenges and take on leadership roles. Recognizing this, the guidelines emphasize sustainable quality education. Now we are coming to that now, with the ultimate goal being the creation of a truly Indian approach to higher education. From this perspective, higher education has become not only an academic exercise, but also a driver of economic and societal progress, as well as intellectual. The guidelines align with the vision of the National Education Policy, that is NEP 2020, Sustainable Development Goals known as SDGs, and the integration with the Academic Bank of Credits, that is ABC, with an emphasis on an all-rounded education. The guidelines encourage developing individuals with a broad array of skills, values, and capabilities. So now we are coming to the present. Now, as concepts like societal embeddedness underscores the interaction of higher education institutions with the broader community, organizations such as UNESCO and the UIL, they are the key players in this landscape. So let us briefly look at the role of UNESCO's UIL in this SDGs. So what is UIL? We will be dealing with that now. Now, following the adoption of the 2030 agenda for sustainable development, lifelong learning has become the overarching concept and vision for education, as reflected in the wording of Sustainable Development Goal SDG 4 in particular. We are dealing with that, which calls on countries, what is that? To ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for. Now, this is the focus of NEP 2020, and UNESCO is helping in that. Our societies are rapidly changing because of environmental, scientific, and technological transformations, and the impact of globalization on all dimensions of life, including culture and education. And so obviously the change is there. So coping with these changes and shaping the future accordingly require creative and innovative policy responses. While promoting lifelong learning to achieve a sustainable future, it constitutes a goal in itself. It is also a requirement for reaching many of the other SDGs. You have to club so many. To address this challenge, mobilizing higher education institutions is a key. And universities have a special role to play in achieving this SDGs. So while the university sector, because of its unique capacity and mandate to advance knowledge, foster innovation, and education, it constitutes a huge potential for promoting lifelong learning. Of course, its actual contribution still remains unclear. Many universities continue to prioritize academic excellence and research, yet with less attention being paid to teaching and providing lifelong learning opportunities to the community. Here comes the society. Hence, achieving the vision expressed through the SDGs and precisely articulated in SDG 4 will require a substantial transformation of higher education institutions, in particular universities. To further explore these issues and provide guidance to policymakers and higher education institutions, the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning, UIL, the full form of UIL is UNESCO's Institute for Lifelong Learning. It's a part of UNESCO, UIL. And Shanghai Open University, SOU, as it is known, are conducting a comprehensive research project, at present it's ongoing, on the contribution of universities and other higher education institutions to lifelong learning. Now, considering the need to promote lifelong learning in higher education, the recommendations are made, and I'm just sharing the recommendations. I'm saving my energy by not just reading them, so they are on the screen. There are very few important recommendations. I focus on the last one, that lecturers, researchers, and practitioners should contribute to community engagement and support epistemic pluralism. as well as the diversification of curricula, teaching and learning practices, assessment and certification to make learning more relevant to all students, including vulnerable and non-traditional students. So these are strong recommendations. So together we commit to working towards a future in which higher education institutions play a vital role in developing the knowledge, skills, and competences that are needed to ensure healthy, prosperous, and inclusive sustainable societies and economies. So this is a shift of education. Now, looking to all this, we can surely say that the landscape for education has changed across ages, as it is a shift from education 1.0 to education 4.0. So since long I'm talking, so I would like to know that how many of you are familiar with the shift from education? What is education 1.0 and what is known as education 4.0? Eager to have your inputs. Any idea? What was the education 1.0? There's still we have miles to go. I guess nobody's answering, so obviously it's not in the mind, it's mine. See, I'll try to explain it very quickly that education 1.0, we may consider it as our Gurukul system of education, as it was limited to few privileged people, largely influenced by religion and governed by informal methods of teaching. So our Gurukul system, we may say education 1.0. Then we had education 2.0. That is our chalk duster kind of teaching, Macaulay's education policy. And of course, with the advent of printing press and establishment of universities, the process of teaching evolved. It shifted from Gurukul to classroom. So this is education 2.0. Then education 3.0 is our teaching with the use of ICT. In this new millennium, technology has impacted almost every aspect of life. And education 3.0 obviously is no exception. Technology has provided a platform that has greatly expanded access to education and changed the ways of learning. The traditional setting of lecture hall now has been transformed with the integration of the new tools and with the, to be specific, with the pandemic, now we all are very much familiar with the use of ICT tools in education. Yes, Nidhi, you want to say something?
I beg to differ. When you said education 1.0 as Gurukul system, Gurukul systems were more personalized and skill-based system, what I felt and I have learned. Matlab, I have
Yes,
been
it
through
was a
some
skill-based,
workshops.
madam, but it was for the privileged ones.
Yeah, but they were not on rote
It was not a mass
memorization and all
education.
that.
It was not a mass education.
It
What
was
happened?
not in mass education.
So
But
then the 2.0 was a mass education.
okay, so based on what we divided as education 1.0, 2.0, or so on,
Yes, so
methodology or the penetration into the masses, the
into the
way
masses,
they
into
penetrate.
the masses and
Okay,
the use of technology, how we are evolving through technology.
not the methodology of teaching.
No.
Okay.
So with the use of ICT tools, now we became techno-friendly, your age, your generation. So we evolved that way. But now, today, at present, we are again at the cusp of a change where the learner is at the center of the future ecosystem in education. Student-centered learning. Now, the teacher is not the sage on the stage, but the guide on the
We are the facilitators only.
We are the
Now.
facilitators. We must not say that we are teachers. We can only facilitate. Everything is available online. So with this, of course, NEP 2020, it has also come with the approach of blended learning. What we are doing now is what? So flipped learning, blended learning. There are so many approaches. Cooperative learning. So that is education 4.0 at your time, at your pace. The MOOCs, what is it? You will learn at your time, at your
It
place.
provides convenience of learning.
Yes. So it's a student-centered approach. And that is what is recommended by NEP 2020. And so blended learning, yes, it has become the part of education 4.0. So with the blended learning style, the MOOCs and other online learnings and platforms, now we are in education 4.0. Of course, we all know the scenario. This is just, I'm sharing this, but again, at certain time, we are using 2.0. We are having only the chalk and dusters in many colleges. Some uses this 3.0. Not necessarily they have smart classes, but even they have the laptop or the mobile. They say that, yes, we are in education 3.0, but the revolution is come. Of course, again, we'll be dealing with that, or you have, I don't know, dealt with research and development, AI-based learning, with your ICT, use of ICT. You had a session, or you may be having a session. So
we can say 4.0 is more of continuously improving. So following
exactly,
the
it's still evolving. It's still evolving.
It's following the Kaizen model.
It is a personalized kind of model, I will say. That yes, see, that ikigai, I may say, I may use the word. It is an individual kick for everyone. You are here. There can be two reasons. One, only for certificate, but yes, you are there. You are interacting. You are asking questions, so you are there. And I guess how many students, participants, sir? I saw like 75, not at present, I'm not familiar how many of you. So this is again your purpose. Yes, you want to know certain things. You want to sensitize yourself. You want to orient yourself with NEP 2020 in the afternoon lunch session. And that also on a public holiday. See why you are here. There are so many, but everybody is not attentive. So that is your personal purpose. So yes, it is your choice. Again, we go to that emancipation, your freedom to choose from where we have started. So yes, this is this. So in the 21st century, now we are moving to theme 2. We are done with theme 1. That was the evaluation of education. Now the theme 2 that is prescribed to you is focus of higher education system in the 21st century. That is the title. So in this 21st century, of course, the focus of higher education has evolved to address the changing needs of society and equip students with relevant skills. And here are key aspects we share. Relevance and responsiveness. Higher education institutes aim to produce high qualified graduates who are also responsible citizens. They provide a permanent and open space for advanced learning, fostering critical thinking and forward-looking functions, academic freedom and autonomy to achieve their mission effectively. Universities require academic freedoms and autonomy. These principles allow institutions to innovate, adapt, and respond to societal changes. The third is 21st century skills. I'll be focusing on that more. So, alongside traditional knowledge, higher education now emphasizes on the 21st century skills. They include critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, adaptability, and information literacy. Graduates must be prepared for a dynamic global economy and contribute positively to the society. Now, there are multifaceted roles of higher education in the 21st century, but here are some important roles. According to me, they are must. Societal development, how it comes with inclusivity and community engagement. For inclusivity, higher education fosters a social cohesion by providing equal opportunity to diverse groups. Again, SDG also talks about that. It promotes understanding, tolerance, and empathy among students from different backgrounds and countries. Community engagement. Universities contribute to community development. How they can contribute? Through research, outreach programs, and partnerships with local organizations. Cultural enrichment. See, preserving our heritage, our rich heritage, institutions play a crucial role in this by preserving our heritage, our languages, books, traditions. So here, this is the focus of HEI, promoting arts and humanities. So universities nurture creativity, artistic expression, and critical thinking, enriching the cultural life. Again, we can take 15-20 minutes for each, but I'm just giving you a glimpse of what can be done into this. Spiritual exploration, ethical and moral education. So universities encourage reflection on ethical dilemmas, values, and spirituality. They provide platforms for respectful discussions on religions and spiritual matters. So interfaith dialogue can be done. Economic advancement, yes, this is again a core focus. Skill development, how it is possible. Higher education equips students with practical skills relevant to the job market. We'll be dealing with that shortly. Entrepreneurships, universities foster innovation, incubate startups, and contribute to economic growth. Political awareness and engagement, civic education. So students learn about governments, democracy, and civic responsibilities, advocacy and activism. Universities empower students to engage in social and political change. Technological progress, research and innovation, that is, higher education drives technological advancements through research, development, and collaborations with industries. Of course, digital literacy, it prepares students for the digital age by imparting technology skills. Historical evidence. Throughout history, universities, as we have seen again in the first part, that universities have been centers of knowledge, preserving ancient texts, scientific discoveries, and cultural artifacts. Soft skills and practical competences, we'll be dealing with that. Beyond theoretical knowledge, we know that these are the must things. Smart technology integrations. Universities embrace smart technologies such as e-learning, I guess. So smart technologies as e-learning platforms, virtual labs, AI-driven personalized learning, these enhance teaching, research, and administrative processes. Lifelong learning, again, this is the major focus. Higher education, it extends beyond degrees. Lifelong learning is encouraged through continuous education. Again, the concept comes here, Vibhorji. Upskilling, and professional development, learn, unlearn, relearn, everything works accordingly. Universities offers flexible programs, micro credentials, and online courses to cater to diverse learners. So higher education is a dynamic force that shapes individuals, societies, and the world at large. Its impact extends far beyond classroom walls, influencing every facet of our life. So we saw the 10 major sides, which is the focus of higher education at present, of NEP at present. But let me ponder more, focus more on the 21st century skill for higher education. See, we all are teachers, so obviously we are interested in that. So each 21st century skill is broken into one of three categories. Basically, I will say that there are three categories: learning skills, literary skills, and life skills. Now, learning skills, as they are saying, the 4 C's of learning. Can you please name it? Anyone can name the 4 C's? Which are the 4 C's? Because they teach students about the mental processes required to adapt and improve upon a modern work environment. Which are the 4 C's of learning of the 21st century? Can you please name?
Commitment.
And first is curiosity.
Sorry?
Critical thinking,
Yes, critical thinking.
Curiosity, ma'am.
Sorry?
communication,
Critical thinking.
Curiosity, ma'am.
No, it can be not the main 4.
Ma'am,
Critical thinking, communication, yes.
Collaboration.
creativity,
Creativity.
Collaboration.
Sorry?
Collaboration.
Collaboration, yes.
collaboration.
So these are the major 4 C's of learning in the 21st century. Then we have literacy skills. They're also known as IMT skills, and they focuses on how students can discern facts, publishing outlets, and the technology behind. There is a strong focus on determining trustworthy sources and factual information to separate it from the misinformation that floods on the internet. We know what to take, what not to take. So this is the digital literacy. Because we are going to deal with the students who are digital natives. We know they're born with the technology. So we have to talk in their language. In order to reach them, we have to talk in their language. And then comes the life skills. They are also known as flips. And it take a look at intangible elements of a student's everyday life. These intangibles focus on both personal and professional qualities. So let us have a closer look at each category. Of course, I'll not dive deep into that, but still just a cursory glance. The 4 C's of learning. What is critical thinking? Finding solutions to problems. Creativity is thinking outside the box. Collaboration, working with others. Communication, talking to others. So critical thinking, if we talk about critical thinking, is one of the most important qualities for today's professional to have. In the classroom, effective critical thinking inspires students to solve problems and make new discoveries. It's what helps students figure things out for themselves when they don't have a teacher at their disposal. Certain things should be done by them only. So critical thinking is important. Creativity is equally important as a means of adaptation. This skill empowers students to see concepts in a different light, which leads to innovation. It's because of creativity that there can be innovation. In any field, innovation is key to the adaptability and overall success of a particular institution. So learning creativity as a skill, it requires someone to understand that the way things has always been done doesn't necessarily inspire progress or growth. You have to come out of your comfort zone. You have to work accordingly. Change may be needed to solve some problem with innovative solutions. So that is creativity, collaboration. It means getting students to work together, achieve compromises, and get the best possible results from solving a problem. Sorry. So collaboration may be the most difficult concept in the course, but once it is mastered, it can bring companies, even if somebody is working there, it can bring them back from even bankruptcy. So even in teaching, in learning, collaboration is a key element. So that gives them inclusiveness. Then finally comes communication. It's the glue that brings all of these educational qualities together. It's a requirement for any company or to maintain professional profitability. Of course, collaboration at workplaces, collaboration in the classroom, communication at workplaces, communication in the classroom between teacher and student. So this is required. Message should be delivered effective, successful. There should never be any communication gap. So without understanding proper communications, students in the 21st century will lack a pivotal skill to progress in their careers. So these are the 4 C's. But apart from that, what students should know is the literacy skills, IMT. Why they are IMT? Information literacy, media literacy, technology literacy. So these 3 kinds of literacy are important. Information literacy, understanding facts, figures, statistics, and data. Media literacy, understanding the methods and outlets. Technology literacy, understanding the machines that make the information age possible. So all these kind of skills are needed. As we discussed earlier, I just mentioned that yes, we have the internet is flooding with lot of informations, but we have to figure out that what is important for us, what is beneficial for us. So is it okay, sir? I gave a break around 3:50 for 10 minutes. I know you all are bored, or maybe you need a cup of tea, but please bear because there are so many points to be covered.
कितने बजे मैडम स्टार्ट करें?
Sorry, sir.
अभी 3:41 हुआ है.
हाँ, मैं 3:50 को स्टॉप करूंगी.
जी जी जी.
Life skills. Now, life skills are also known as flips. Now, why they are known as flips? Because this skill all pertain to someone's personal life, but they also bleed into professional settings also. Flexibility, deviating from plans as needed. One should be flexible. I guess you have all done, you are done with academic leadership. And so these are the characteristics that you know, you are aware of. Leadership, motivating a team to accomplish a goal. Initiative, starting projects, strategies, and plan on one's own. Productivity, maintaining efficiency in an age of distractions. Social skills, meeting and networking with others for mutual benefit. And so they are known as flips. Flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. So together, these 5 skills help ensure that a person can lead a successful and independent life, both personally and professionally. If we talk about flexibility, of course, it's the expression of someone's ability to adapt to changing circumstances. That in these days, adaptability is required because otherwise, students, teachers, whoever, they will not be able to grow. If you are rigid, you cannot grow. So you become stagnant, growth becomes stagnant. So in order to have a dynamic growth, so adaptability is required. Leadership, you had the session on leadership, so obviously you know what is leadership. Initiative, again, true success requires this initiative, requiring students to be self-starters. So this is one of the hardest skills to learn and practice. Initiative often means working on projects outside of regular working hours. You need to walk that extra mile. So that is their productivity. Now this is also very important. So in order to make students productive, or to make students, what we say, efficient, this is a skill that they need to learn. So because the common goal of any professional, from an entry-level employee to OCU, is to get more done in less time. And so you have to be productive. So social skills, again, we all are aware, are crucial to the ongoing success of a professional. Building network. Networking is very important these days. So importance of network, how you introduce yourself, what is that, the way you project yourself, your image building, everything matters. So social skills are very important, how you project yourself. So I guess, sir, because फिर हम मिशन पे जाएंगे, तो I may stop here. You want a break of 15 minutes or 10 minutes? Sir, what will you allow? You're the boss.
ये लोग बताएं विभोर, 10 minutes या 15 minutes?
10 minutes is okay, sir.
10 minutes is okay.
Okay, then we'll be again together after 10 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
See you soon.
Thank
Refresh yourself.
you.
Be ready for the other things.
जी.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.